Today I am going to do a fun Easter craft with, yes, it's a kiddie craft kit, but there's no law that says adults can't enjoy kiddie craft kits too. The problem with kiddie craft kits is the stuff that's included in there is a bit... it's just not good enough for me. So I am not going to settle for just what is in here. I'm going to pimp this thing out. Am I using that term right? Pimping out a craft kit. Let's use a thesaurus, shall we? Does the good old Google say? Thing. Meaning. To make something look fashionable or impressive, usually by adding things to it. I think that's actually a fair evaluation. I'm going to pimp out this craft kit by bringing in my own supplies. But first up, let's have a look what we actually get inside this one. So we get pom-poms, googly eyes, some stickers and a little thing of glue, some coloured foam additive bits like wings and ears and stuff. We get some really pastel colours, which is quite nice for Easter. They're quite Eastery colours. I will give them a go, but I think I will definitely end up using some of my own paint. We get one little paint brush. I like that it's a fine detail brush because you know you want to do details, but imagine trying to coat the whole thing with this one little brush. That would thoroughly annoy me. And I would actually think a little kid would get pretty friggin' annoyed too. And then we get 4 eggs. These are the bits that are pretty cool, pretty fun. They have a flat bum so you can stand them up. So I'm thinking, gonna try and stick to the kit for this one and do something that's on the box as inspiration. But for the other 3, I'm gonna make a set, and I'm thinking something I haven't really done as far as creatures and critters go. Like, I draw bunnies and foxes and mice, and it occurred to me the other day, I seem to like drawing and painting vermin. So instead of going for Great Australian Pests, how about I go for Great Australian Animals, and they're gonna be hatching out of eggs. I like that idea. Let us start by decorating an egg with only what comes in the kit. There's a few different options available. 2 chickens and 2 bunnies. I'm going to go for a bunny. I will use the box as inspiration, but still my own design. I'm not big on recreating things exactly. I want a pink bunny with a floppy ear, so I start out by using the glue supplied to bend over one of the pink ears and add the darker pink stickers to the centre. Easy so far. Then I use the paint from the kit to paint the egg pink. For this, I use my own brush because it's not fun. It's slow and patchy. However, painting like this, oh so satisfying. The paint goes on so lovely and smooth. I could paint like this all day. And the paint isn't too bad. It needs 3 coats, but hey, I've had a lot worse. For the bottom, I started painting a green shell, using an angled brush to easily give a broken shell look. But once it's done, it looks more like grass than a shell. So rather than cover it with another colour, I go with it and make it look like this egg-headed bunny is sitting in a field of grass and flowers. A hoppy little accident. Oh dear, I'm sorry, bad pun. For the details of the bunny's face, I use the supplied brush with its wonky bristles, but surprisingly, it works rather well for details. And for the nose, I used the opposite end of the brush, like you would a dotting tool. When it came to sticking on the ears, I went off kit. I'm too impatient to wait for PVA glue to dry, so I use super glue, which sets in seconds. I've got to admit though, this kit isn't bad. I was expecting to hate it and absolutely rip into it, especially the paints, but they're not bad either. And this craft was easy, simple, relaxing, and just enough room to move with getting creative and adding your own little personal touches, like turning the flowers in the kit into a little flower crown for my bunny. Oh, and we mustn't forget her fluffy little tail and blush for her cheeks. It's no masterpiece, but I would give this kit a solid 4 stars out of 5 based on its price. But I'm going to enhance this kit with one very simple item that will allow me to really customise these eggs. Air dry clay. As I said in the intro, I'm sculpting 3 Australian animals, and first is the koala. otherwise known as the deadly drop bear. But seriously, they're not vicious. If you see pictures of koalas with sharp razor teeth, they're photoshopped. I mean, look at this cute little thing. How could anyone ever accuse this thing of being vicious? I quickly realised that the clay was not going to stick to these ultra smooth eggs, so I scratched up the surface where I want to attach the ears. Then push a small amount of clay into the rough surface. That seems okay. So then I attach the ears like I would any normal clay piece. I won't really know if this has worked until the pieces are completely dry though. The clay I'm using is Fimo. I recently did an air dry clay review and comparison, and the Fimo was my favourite from that review. But I never actually tested it by attaching it to something like this, so it will be interesting to see how it goes. Once the ears are on and all textured, I work on some little feet using the same attachment method. I'm not going for an ultra realistic detail sculpt here. I want cute and cartoony. And that's it. No arms or other details, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Once he's dry, I go over the whole thing in gesso, but as I'm painting one of the legs, it pops right off. This is where I realised the bond was not good enough. But no worries, I'll just bung it back on with some super glue. I also pop off the other body parts and glue them back on. Once it's all glued back together, gessoed and dried, I get onto the paint job. I started with a brown colour, realised that was for the wrong animal, wipe it off and go in with the grey colour he's supposed to be. That colour wasn't quite right either, too dark, so for the second coat made it lighter. As you can see, I haven't painted the whole figure, just the face, ears, feet and a little booty. And that's because this is no ordinary koala, he is an Easter koala. So, like the Easter bunny, the Easter koala hatches out of eggs. I'm trying to paint this koala to look like he is still in the egg, with certain areas of the shell busted open. And yes, I realise koalas are mammals, they don't lay eggs, but like I said, he's a special Easter koala, so the rules of reproduction don't apply to him. I'm going for a cartoony look, but with just a little more detail, using the uneven brush strokes to give it a fur-esque look. Something I did realise as I was painting is his face is way off. I centred the face to his feet, but his feet are out of alignment with his ears, so I should have actually centred the face to his ears. Ah well, too late and too bad. With all the painting of the koala done, including his fluffy little bum, I start on the egg. I initially painted the eggshell white, but I didn't like how it was so stark against the soft grey and pink of the fur. So for the second, third and fourth coats, I added a hint of orange. Once the shell colour is on, I use a watered down grey colour to line the inside edge of the shell to help lift it off the koala, and then go around and paint on some little cracks in the shell. This is where my shaky hands shine, giving a nice jagged line that really does look like little cracks in the shell. And for the finishing touch, a few orange speckles. The next animal I want to do is one that is a little closer to home for me. It's the happiest animal in the world, the quokka. And how did it get the name of the happiest animal, you might ask? Well, just look at these. They really are so frigging adorable. Quokkas live mainly on Rottnest Island, and when you go there, these furry little dudes are everywhere and are so tame and friendly and are content to just be admired and take selfies. I used the same method as the koala to attach all the pieces, because at this stage, I didn't know the pieces wouldn't stick yet. While I've done this video doing one whole animal at a time, in actual fact, I was doing all three at once. In addition to the ears and feet, I sculpt a little quokka tail. After I've pulled off the ears and feet, glued them back on and gessoed the whole thing, I paint on the base colour. And like the koala, like everything I paint really, I start with a colour that is too dark for my liking, so I go back over it with a lighter brown. The koala face I felt was a bit meh, just no personality, but this little guy, I want to capture the famous Quokka smile. And I quite like how this one ended up. For the shell, I use a very, very, very light yellow. So all 3 animals will have 3 different coloured shells. Quokkas are just so friggin' cute, and this one I'm rather proud of. So I'm going to give him a name. Let's call him Cobber. Cobber the Quokka. For the last egg, I'm going to switch to Jovi clay. As I know from my air dry clay review, the bond strength of joining pieces is strong for this clay, so I'm hoping the pieces won't break off so easily. And I'm actually doing the animal that does come from an egg. It's going to be a turtle. And yes, you get turtles from all over the world, I think, but I know we get particular species of turtles just in Australian waters, like the green turtle. This sculpt is pretty simple, just needing to make some flippers. I really hoped the Jovi clay would have a better result, but nope, still didn't hold onto the surface. That's okay, it's still a really nice clay to sculpt with. I do the repairs with the super glue. Plus, something I didn't mention before, once the repair is dry, I drizzle some super glue over the join seam line. Then when you paint over it, the little crack is no longer visible. Fills it in quite well. For the paint job, I go for green. In actual fact though, green sea turtles are not green. They're brown, but it seems I already have a brown Quokka. I want a different colour, and green kind of seems the obvious choice. I get that base colour down, the correct shade first time for a change, then it's in with the details. While I get these details down, let's talk about the craft kit. It's actually pretty good value for $8. The kit comes from Kmart in Australia, so I don't think it's available worldwide. And I had a quick look on Amazon and couldn't find anything close, but I'm sure there's plenty of other kits out there with simple plaster eggs, paint and some other bits and bobs to decorate them. But if you can just add some air dry clay, maybe some super glue and any paint you already have on hand, you can really get creative and let your imagination run wild. So here they are, all done. First is the bunny, just using what was in the kit, bar the paintbrushes and super glue. But realistically, that's because I'm lazy and can't be bothered waiting for glue to dry and painting with a tiny little brush. Then I have my set of 3 Australian animals. First, the bland-faced koala. He's cute and yeah. Then my happy little mate, Cobber the Quokka. And lastly, a green sea turtle. Well, that's all I'd have time for this week. Have a great, safe and happy Easter, and I hope to see you next time.